Hey YouTube! Another Gibson Explorer. Nearly. Can you guess why nearly? This is not a Gibson, this is a CHIBSON. Yeah, so I've got this in for guys wanting the pickups replaced, and we're changing the pots to CTS pots. Kinda was. I'm not sure that the pickups we've got are. I was quite pleased I hadn't bought Seymour Duncans or something like that. Is it Iron Gear? I think is it, but this was open because I've seen inside it. Why is it not open? No, okay. Yeah, so we've got a Tesla Shark and a Blues engine. I do like Iron Gear pickups, they are good. I don't think I've ever actually bought one myself. I would normally just buy Warman because I like the guy. So just using my Orange TH30, there's a reverb pedal on, nothing else. Bridge. So I mean, the thing I've always got against CHIBSONs is you just don't know what it is you're going to get. Just because you've bought it from AliExpress or whatever it is doesn't mean that the last one or the one your pal bought, they got the same guitar. Might have been the same photo of a guitar, might not be the same one, so the risk value for me is not worth it. I think they come in at sort of 250, 300 quid or something like that, so you're talking about you can get a decent guitar for that price. Doesn't look like a Gibson Explorer though. Actually, it seems pretty good. There's not really much to say about I'm not really getting much faults about it. You can sort of tell from the fret ends, they're not sharp, but they're not as good as the expensive Japanese guitars I've got. Comparing it to like a Squire or something, a modern one, maybe not, because the problem is I've got the tendency, it's like they get kind of rounded off naturally by your fingers over 20, 30, 40 years, like all these guitars, a little bit. Plus also the chances are these are all used, so the chances are someone might have had the frets done at some point. You know, if the guitar's 40 years old and still plays, the chances are it's been fidgeted with over the years. It's got a volute in the back of the neck. I don't remember whether the Gibson one had that or not. It's much fancier than the Gibson one I had in. This would be the. I don't know if you get standards in studios, but this would be the standard, I suppose, as opposed to the studio, which would be the other one. That's just a sticker. That's actually quite good. I quite like that. I like that actually. That's that on the headstock. It's physically, if I can get the angle right, you can actually see that it's a sticker that you could pick off. Well done. I love that idea. Because I would have no problem having this, but I would have problem selling it. I wouldn't want to. I'd take the sticker off to sell it. Not that I'm cheating. I would never say, yes, this is a real Gibson, £1,000. Do you know what I mean? But who's to say that in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, a couple of owners down the line, somebody doesn't end up buying it for £1,000 and then going onto the Gibson serial number checker and all that, and then going, oh, I've got a CHIBSON one, which is worthless in the sense of as a collector thing, but it's still a guitar, so it's still worth it as a guitar. Most of these guitars I've got are kind of sit into that category as well. They don't really have, maybe the PGM probably does have some kudos on top of it, of the actual quality of the guitar. You know, there's more to it than that. But I tend to buy things where you get the best possible guitar for the least amount of money. That's why all the Japanese stuff comes up. Not the cheapest guitar. The cheapest guitar you can get. You know, you're unlikely. I have managed it, but you're unlikely to get like, you know, Japanese guitars for under 100 quid sort of thing. That's not really going to happen. You can't rely on it. Put it that way. You're talking a couple hundred sort of quid, which is still these days, you know, getting on. Been playing for 25 years now, so we're now on the sort of what was a cheap guitar when I started 25 years ago, being 100 quid sort of thing. You're now looking at 200 quid, I think, to get something like that. So the frets then, they're not brilliant, they're not bad, they're not. I would be disappointed if I paid £2,000 for this and it frets like this. Put it that way. So the fingerboard actually looks like it might be ebony, but or some form of ebony. Jumbo frets, 2 humbuckers, bog standard tunematic bridge. Looks like it's made of I think it's mahogany. 1-bit, 2-bit, 3-bit, 4-bit, 4 pieces. It's massive though. So I mean, I would expect such things, and this will just be a. I would very much expect that to just be a veneer on the top rather than actually being a proper, half-inch thick, flamey maple piece. Yeah. So anyway, this was just for the tunnels look all right as well. I think the guy was probably right about the pots. The pots are really... No, actually, they don't seem as bad as they now. Maybe this has never been played. They're a bit stiff. The tone pots, no one ever uses them. I'm wondering, actually, if you just kind of use them half a dozen times, they actually start to free up a little bit. They are a wee bit... they are big pots, which I was surprised at. So I think maybe we're out of the days when... Oh, big pots equals good. I think you can now get cheap big pots. They've obviously worked out that we can just make the really cheap quality pots, but make them look big and people will buy them because they're big, even though the rest of it's not the same. It used to just be that big pots were your CTS and stuff. Speaking of that, I did actually. So I bought proper CTS pots. Annoying. I just wish CTS pots would just tell you. I mean, yeah, they have to send it to you with a bag that says A500 on it because it doesn't fucking say A500 in the back of the pot, which is annoying. Normally it says it. See, it's normally written in that wee bit there. We've got one lying about. No. Normally it says A250 or whatever it is on it, which is a great thing. The problem with this has got, this has got like some sort of crazy serial number, 450S84672329 CTS. So I mean, it's a CTS, but it doesn't tell you sod all else about it. And see if it's in a guitar already. Someone's probably put solder on top of that serial number so you can't read it. So CTS, bastards, just give us, just write on it, eh? Even if it's just in the serial number bit, just at the end, can't it cost that much to put a wee thing in the back that just says at the end in brackets, B500. Yeah, it's like, whoa, I know what it is. Instead of going, we'll just check up my reference chart to find out exactly which pot it is I've got. It's like, it's not that one because it's the long shaft one. And yeah. This is only meant to be a before video. It's already been 7 minutes long. This will probably just count as a video for tonight, actually. Fucking plays. Actions, the truss rod's about right. The action seems alright. I'm not finding any dead stuff yet. And the thing I keep going on about these frets, just because I keep noticing them, they're not sharp, they're just a bit, they're not as well rounded as I would like them to be. It's, if you're talking about buying one of these, and basically filing the frets isn't that's right, the volume control doesn't quite, it's still it's not going off, so I don't know whether that, don't know, did you hear that? It sounded like aliens. So really try and play something that I'm going to try and play picking up all sorts of interference, and that's me just sitting. You hear that? I'm 100% going for that, the volume control, because it doesn't seem to make any noise when the volume control's up. It's just not quite. Normally when you put a volume control, hope that's coming through. Oh, dodgy dinner last night. Yeah. But it's still there without the rat pedal on. But yeah, so I don't generally use an awful lot of gain and distortion pedals and stuff anyway, and I'm not playing up loud. So taking this to play as it sits right now, no, you couldn't deal with that in the studio. I couldn't deal with that in the studio. Like, I know I've played a lot of bands where people can't. They use that many guitar pedals for their tone, and it's like, you know, it's like literally as soon as they stop playing, it's just wah! And you're like, what? What? Two choruses, you say? What? Yeah! And it's like, got to play the guitar and then just sing me what it is you want me to do. It's a very common thing. People just have ridiculous amounts of noise and shit kicking about. But kind of as expected, these pickups ain't shite. They're not terrible anyway. I mean, straight up, I would fix that. I would replace that volume pot, but I would play this over that Epiphone one I had, the Gothic one. I suppose actually not that much difference in price really. When I got 400 for that, you're kind of not far off it. Getting it for this, would you be better off with the Epiphone one? Just put a Gibson sticker on it yourself. I don't know. I just think the days of getting pure shite pickups is gone. It doesn't cost. It probably costs 10 pence more. I don't even know if they bother making crap pickups anymore. I think there was a time, always back when the Samick Epiphones, they had intentionally bad pickups in them so that they weren't better guitars than the Gibsons. I've got a Gibson from that era. There's definitely quite a few elements of the Epiphone that are actually a better guitar than what the Gibson one is. The Gibson one's got the Gibson pickup, so sounds much better, and the pickups that came standard in the Epiphone ones from the mid-90s or 96 or something like that are pish. You know, it's like, no, don't put in pickups at work. Get specially made ones that really don't, where they're somehow quiet and muffled. It's like, what quiet and muffled? Yeah, it's great. Quiet as in low volume and muffled. Right? Normally if you get like high output ones, they're a bit muffled, or low output ones are dead jangly, but they're a bit quiet. You know, no, they managed to get both the bad things in them. But I think I've bought quite a few sets of picks. I actually just bought another set of China eBay there. Bought red ones to make the next Buckycaster. They're generally pretty fucking good. Not, I don't think, a huge difference between these and your Warmans and Wilkinsons and stuff like that. I suppose it comes down to, again, it's that whole thing I'm talking about with the... Well, this is definitely just going to be tonight's video, and then the next video will be me. I'm about to rip this to bits, so I'm going to film it. Swap over the pickups and the pots, see if we can get it a bit better. It might sound much, much better. I just don't think it sounds bad. Like if someone's handed it to me and said, these pickups are shit, what do you think? I'd be like, no, they're not. Again, maybe it depends on what it is you're trying to do. That's actually, I would say that humbuckers aren't good for clean. But the ones in this seem to work quite fine for that. Probably means if you put in tons of distortion or something like that, maybe they don't cut it quite the same way. Joyo Dream, Joyo British sound. Alan Collins used to explore, didn't they? So yeah, I mean, That's the volume fully off. So the volume control is no longer doing anything at all. Maybe not. You might have been right, but we put better pots in. I don't think they necessarily needed to be CTS ones. CTS is just California Telephone Service, so it's not. They're not. It's not like they were designed for guitars. It just so happened that was what was near Fender's factory, and that's what he used. But I mean, that's there's wiring all over the place. Oh, is that a volume for each pickup? There you go. Okay, so, and he wanted it the other way around. He wanted it so that the what I would say would be the neck volume should be the bridge volume. ESP do that amongst others because obviously you're more likely to be using the bridge pickup. So bridge volume, neck volume, master tone. Yeah, master tone. Yeah. So you can blend between the two pickups. But I'll check with the guy and make sure that's what he wanted. I'm pretty sure he told me it was a volume and two tones that were on it, and it's not. That's what I would do. If I was rewiring this, I would make it a volume and two tones because the two volumes would just annoy me. And I very rarely use the tones anyway. I do like the idea of being able to just turn down that knob and the guitar is off rather than have... Yeah. So again, I don't know. I suppose the CHIBSON thing, I'm not a huge Gibson fanboy anyway. It's not worried about stealing money off them. It's just that whole not wanting someone to get ripped off down the line would be my point. I wish they would just put fucking CHIBSON on the headstock. Just spell it with a CH. Because then it'd be funny. I would probably quite like to have like a CHIBSON SG or something. It says so rather than it's like pure. Yeah, it's a custom shop, and people go, it's not a custom shop. It doesn't have the right bridge. And it's like, I don't know how accurate these are. To me, this looks more like, is it the Hamer one? There's a Hamer that looks like this. I don't know. Gibson probably did one as well, but there's a lot of Hamers that were this, the veneer top on them and stuff like that. Anyway, so I'm now going to chop this up. Well, using the words chop it up, I'm not actually going to chop it up. I'm going to replace the pickups and the pots in a video, and then I'll do an after one. So I suppose this is the first one. So it was only meant to be 5 minutes, and I've actually talked for 17 and a half. Yeah, so there's something iffy going on with the electrics. Buying a CHIBSON, I don't know. A lot of people don't play the guitar who have guitars. I mean, I'm always amazed at that. And it's not like they buy cheap guitars either. I mean, and it's not like, oh, I'm just beginning. You know, my pal Alex has got a Alistair? God, I can't remember now. He's got he's only been playing for like a year or something like that. And he's got like 3 or 4 or 5 guitars or something. He's bought like a cheap Telecaster. It's like, yeah, totally get into it. But he's trying to play the guitar, but a lot of people actually own real Gibsons at $2,000 and shit. They don't play the guitar. So I suppose the joy of just having it to look at is there. I'm just concerned about this is one of the better Gibsons. If they were all like this, that would be different. But they're not all like this. I've had a Les Paul at one point. It was just like basically it wasn't a guitar. It looked like a guitar. It said Gibson Custom on it, but everything on it was just like, yeah, it's like the factory is up here. Yeah, we make shelving units. We can make a guitar. Yeah, we've got the woodworking stuff. We'll make you a guitar. There you go. And it's like, well, but anyone there had ever made a guitar before? No, but that doesn't really matter. And you don't know where it comes from, if it's just subcontracted out. And you go, my mate could build a guitar. He's got a wood shop for making small painted wooden ducks. I'm sure he can make a Les Paul. And it's like, yeah, but I mean, the tuners aren't that bad either. They seem fine. Just we're not talking. These are not. I'm not comparing this to what would be on a Gibson, like your Scholars and Classen Deluxe and stuff like that. You're not going to get them on a CHIBSON. People do put them on them. I suppose it's basically what you're buying is the husk, the hard bit. The hard bit being the neck and the body, and then you can put your own hardware on it. I mean, even upgrading it. I'll just get one of those things that when you see a lot of people buying these sort of things, and it's like pure. Yes, I just bought the Tone Pros. He spent a couple £100 on the bridge, couple £100 on Seymour Duncan's, £100 on tuners. And you're like, that right, so now your £250, £300 guitar actually cost you like £700 or £800 and it's still a Chibson. £700 or £800 probably gets you any of these, all of which are better than a Gibson Explorer. Never mind being a copy. I mean, you don't know where they're made, is my point really. This one might have been made in the Epiphone factory or something like that. You wonder because they've got something to draw around. And I'm not that sure in Explorers. There's nothing on this that's jumping out and telling me, that's not a real one. You know, sometimes you get like I can do it with Strats and Tellies, you get it, and it's like, this horn's not the right shape. You know, just by being half an inch shorter, I would notice it because I'm so used to looking at Strats and Tellies, whereas an Explorer, I wouldn't know. If this was, you know, a real one was an inch longer or an inch shorter, I don't think I would know the difference. But neck is mahogany as well, just a one piece. Sort of set neck, and there's the extra cap sit on there. That doesn't have the best. That's not the best detail of junction between. Like it's got a wee bit of filler in it, but I mean, what are you comparing this to? I mean, I would be picking that out as a whole in the £2,000 Gibson one. To be honest, the £2,000 the Gibson one actually had more finishing flaws than what this has. It maybe doesn't look very expensive up close. It's like you could sort of tell. I mean, I've thought that before. It was like even getting my dad to say, like, which one of those is the more expensive of the two guitars? He would always get it right, but just by looking at it, he doesn't know anything about guitars at all. You can if I put a guitar and a bass next to him and asked, he wouldn't know that one of them was a bass. that much. But you can tell just by looking at them. It does have a sort of plasticky cheapiness to it, which you don't get with the more expensive ones, but. Yeah, so 20 minutes as a 5-minute intro to what this guitar sounds like with its original pickups. Something wobbly about the volume controls, that whole knot. Oh, maybe that was why it was letting through. Is that why it was letting that sound through? Because of the other volume up? So it could be bleeding through the... So turn the volume down. No, that's both volumes at nothing. And there's still shit coming through. There's something not quite right. I'm hoping that just by redoing it with all new pots, everything will be fine. There's not really that much to go wrong. You've got like 2 pickups, a switch, and 3 volumes, so there's not really much in it. Just do a better job of it. Rock on. I'll see you tomorrow for the other half of this video, which will probably be one of your ADSR. Nope. That's a synthesizer term. AMSR, whatever it is. Me just talking pish, wiring this up. I don't think it'll take that long. I'm not foreseeing any problems, I hope. You never know. I'm assuming that these are going to be normal size pickups because it's modern and normal size pots and all these things, rather than if you're looking at some of the older ones I'm getting, you know, especially when you start going into the 70s or 80s, it's like pure, yeah, it's a Telecaster, something like that. Being a Telecaster, but it's a really good one. It's a Japanese one. None of the bits from a normal telly fit that, or vice versa, because it's not a telly. It's like, I think they made that from a photo that was taken at an angle or something, so it's like the scratch plates, just not quite, the bridges, no, and everything's just not quite the right size because it was old. You get that a lot with sort of earlier, up until the 2000s really, where people were getting other people to manufacture pickups and stuff, whereas now you just go to whatever Chinese factories ramping these out. These will be the same pickups that are in Epiphones and Squires and all that. There'll just be a factory making decent pickups cheap, and there's not that many factories making cheaper than that pickups. As I said, it's just a magnet with wire wrapped around it, so you can use slightly cheaper wire, which will make a crapper pickup or not wind it as much, but I mean, all these things aren't really going to make that much difference to the price. You know, instead of costing £2, it's going to cost £1.80 to get a crap one that doesn't work, so spend the extra 20p and just don't even bother making the cheap ones, just make decent ones. Rock on! See you tomorrow!